Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Live and Learn, where we talk about something, we teach you something that you can go ahead and use right away. And I am super pumped for this show because we've been talking about this a bit in the MOMnation Arizona group ever since our kiddos started wanting to play on these technology tools, these tablets, these VRs, all these things. We have been talking about parental controls, and I am super excited to introduce Casey. Hello, Casey, and welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. Casey is a software engineer and a dad, and his wife's in MOMnation, Arizona. So that's how we hooked him up. Well, welcome again, Casey, and thank you. I'm excited to dive into this because I know we kind of have both audiences here, right? We have some mamas that are, oh yeah, super into this. They're very tech savvy. They know what to do. They know what devices to do it on. And then we have some other mamas that are like, what? Parental controls? I don't even get it. So let's talk first, because this is something when you and I spoke that I had an aha moment about, if you remember. But what types of devices do you think that parents should be most concerned about when it comes to setting up parental controls? Now, if you remember our conversation, I had a young man that came over my house over the weekend, and he brought a VR set. And I had no idea that you put parental controls on VR. Like, who knew?
Well, and that's a huge thing a lot of people overlook and kind of dismiss just because it's a piece of technology they're not familiar with, or it's just something kind of just not really thought about.
Yeah.
My kids use the VR, and they have a 4-year age gap. So I've got a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they use it differently. But there's all sorts of games and all sorts of things on the VR. And if you're not locking that down, then you're going to have your kid just talking to random people.
Right. It's just like a wide open door to the world, right?
Right, exactly. And it gets kind of scary. And if you're not paying attention to that and picking an active role in trying to allow them to use the device, but also keep them safe and restrict those certain apps and do your research. That's a big thing. I won't let my kids play a certain game until I've done the research on that game to make sure that there's some sort of parental control on it that I can have access to separate from the device or while using the device. Some of them, most of the time, they'll have separate controls where you can go in via email. The kid will want to request permission for something, and so they'll push a button and it'll send you an email where you can click a link, like on the VR for Gorilla Tag, for instance. It has parental controls where you can turn the voice chat in the game off or on, and instead of hearing people talk, they're gorillas. So instead of hearing them actually talk, you're just hearing them go. So it's kind of hilarious. Some people have been very creative with their games and their parental controls. But other things are like Nintendo Switch is a good example.
I had no idea.
A lot of people don't do any parental controls on there, but Nintendo has lots of parental control options for just the system in general. I don't believe the games specifically have parental controls, but I believe you can restrict the game, like specific games within those parental controls on the device.
Gotcha. So we have video games, and there's like a whole bunch of these consoles, right? Like back in my day, you're going to laugh, Casey. Casey's younger than me. So you're going to laugh because back in my day, we played the Atari with the stick,
I had an Atari.
The size of it for me.
Yep, I had an Atari.
Okay,
for a little bit. It was not too long after I had the Atari that the Nintendo came out.
Yeah. Remember that first console, that first system? So back in our day, there wasn't as many. Now there's a ton of them. So we've got,
Yeah,
like you said, Nintendo has the Switch, and we've got
Xbox, PlayStation.
is it
Um,
Sega?
is it what?
Is there still Sega? Remember Sega from back then?
No, there's no Sega anymore. At least not that I've seen. Um, but now you have all sorts of handheld stuff. Steam, which is on the PC and which on the computer mainly. Um, but they now have a handheld Steam Deck. So they're branching out everywhere. And so you really it becomes really hard to keep track of everything.
Yeah, no kidding. Because so that's games. We talked about VRs, which the
And
only one that I ever have had experience with is I mean, I don't know if they're all the same or they're all different, but it's the thing, goes over your eyes, and then you have the two things in your hands, and away we go. Are there
yeah,
any different
they're
types?
all different. There's all
Okay.
sorts of different ones. You've got ones that work on PlayStation. You've got the Meta brand VR headsets, which you've got like the Quest 2, Quest 3, Oculus, which is now Meta.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's quite a few different other ones. I mean, you even have the Apple's little VR headset thing. I don't even remember what it's called.
I haven't played with that yet, so I don't know either.
But and I can't speak to the parental controls on that, but I'm sure there are some. Most of the time, any device that you have, from your cell phone to your tablet to your computer to your headset, everything is going to have some sort of parental controls option whenever you're interacting with or have the potential to interact with other people or the internet in general.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so there's probably some moms out there that are like, whew, resting easy because they don't have a VR, they don't have game consoles, they don't have handhelds, they don't have tablets, they don't have iPads, their kid doesn't have a phone yet, so they're like feeling I'm a rest easy here, but they shouldn't, right? Because what about TVs now, Casey?
Yeah, and that's the other thing. We were just talking about that. If you have a Amazon Fire Stick
Mm-hmm.
or Chromecast, Roku, all these streaming services, they all have some sort of parental control in some form or another. Some are less than others. I believe Roku is fairly less, but Chromecast, for instance, has parental controls. Our Chromecast account on the TV is locked.
Mm-hmm.
The kids can't get into it unless they have the password. And it's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
Right.
Because you don't want them to be watching those rated R movies that are within your account on some sort of streaming service that they don't have access to necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. For example, we have Hulu, Netflix, Prime, and
Yep.
God knows what else on our TV. Those are the three main ones that I watch. Those are the only ones I know. But each of those are password protected as well, and have parental controls too, because I can set my kid up on like a kid profile so that he can watch, the rated G movies and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't happen to have my password or I don't let him in.
Right, or they don't guess it.
Yeah, and that has happened. My goodness, they're smart.
They can be very sneaky. They can be very sneaky and closing their eyes. I'm not looking. Not looking.
Exactly. So I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but I do want to say it out loud, and I want to ask you your opinion too. Why is it so important that we lock these devices down in today's world?
There are, and this is kind of speaking to the choir in a way, because everyone knows that there has been so much more that has come to light because of the internet.
Yeah.
Lots of creepy people have now figured out a way to connect together.
Yeah.
And be creepy as a whole.
as a
as a
whole.
group,
Yeah.
and so you get these instances where the kids might seem to be playing an innocent game or something that's, oh yeah, there's just a bunch of kids playing on there. There's no problem,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're not paying attention, you're probably going to look past the fact that there are adults that play these games with these kids, and there are kids that play adult games with adults. Call of Duty, for example, is just one of
Eesh.
many, many, many different games where you have in-game voice chat. You're basically put in a random lobby where you're playing with just random people.
Mm-hmm.
You could be paired with someone who's, kind of has an ulterior motive,
Has
so
an
to speak.
agenda. Yeah.
Yep. And they can share links and type in the game, or just verbally tell kids to go to this website for a cool time, for free, a free V-Bucks or free Robux.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. I've always had to tell my kids that those aren't free. They're never going to be free. Anything that says they're free is a scam.
Yeah.
And that may not be 100% of the time, but it's enough percentage of the time. It's probably in the high 90s, where it's going to be a scam, or it's somebody trying to fish for a password or a login, or just to get them to click on a link so that they can get their IP address. And there's so many different ways to kind of expose not only just like your children's voice and who they are,
Mm-hmm.
but where they are.
Yeah.
And that's the scary thing. It's not a super common to go that far, but it is possible. And so it's always, my view is always better to try and secure things and understand what they're using and where they're going, and try and educate them just the best you can as a parent to the best of your knowledge, what things not to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a generation where we grew up without the internet and with the internet. So
right.
we were around when the internet was invented, when it was young, when it was really sketchy.
Yeah. And parents had no idea.
Absolutely no idea. I had no parental supervision on a lot of stuff.
Nope.
And, and some things you just can't unsee on the internet.
100%. Totally. I remember that time, and I remember exploring, and I was like, ooh, what's this? You can talk to others. This is really cool. And I was, I want to say it's mid to late teenager at that time, probably. And that was when like chat rooms got really popular. Do you remember those?
Oh, yep.
And so
ICQ and AIM and MSN Messenger. Those were the big popular ones.
AOL. That's when AOL came out.
Yep.
But I remember being in a chat room, and now I'm a little older, right? But some person was chatting me up, and it started to go a little sideways, like real quick.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, what are you even talking about? Like, I don't do those things, and I got nervous and I got off right away, and I never did that again. But we didn't know a lot about it back then. As parents, I feel like we certainly know a lot more than our parents did, right? And we certainly have the capabilities of overseeing this a little bit more and protecting our kids a little bit more. And like with the internet having grown the last couple of decades, well, then, like you mentioned, the scams have grown too. The predators have grown too, and they have gotten a bit more clever. For example,
absolutely.
You had mentioned voice clips just a couple of minutes ago, and I feel like that's super dangerous because I don't know if, well, you're not in our group because you're not a mom, but I don't know if Erica saw this a couple of months ago, but one of our members got a scam call. And they were stating that they were holding their son hostage, and they could hear the son talking on the phone, right? A voice clip. Okay.
Yep.
So, and they had to bring a certain amount of money to this location by this time, or like something bad was going to happen to the kid. That's insane. Like, I get the chills up and down my body just retelling that story, and it didn't happen to me.
Yep. Honestly, that is a huge thing that's been happening, especially with AI nowadays. Just with a few, not even like just a few seconds of your voice, or your kid's voice talking, you now can create an entirely typeable AI bot to just type whatever you want it to say, and it will say it, and it sounds just like you, or at least close enough to where someone's probably not going to tell.
If they're frantic, right?
Right. Especially, and that's what they rely on a lot of times is the franticness of, oh, I have your kid, a hostage or whatever. But the first thing that you need to think about in those types of situations is, where is my kid?
Yeah.
Right. Do you know where your kid is?
Right.
It's like the commercial that came on at 10 p.m. with Americans. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Yes. Yes.
Do you know where they are? Do you have any way to contact them? Because the first thing that you should do if you get a call like that, hang that phone up, give your kid a call.
Yeah.
Make sure, because chances are, if they really do have your kid, they're probably going to answer that phone that you call.
Uh-huh.
And if they
call you back.
Right. And if they don't, and your kid answers and they're fine, then you know that was a scam. Definitely report it to the police, all that fun stuff. It gets very scary, especially with AI nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
You can create, if someone gets a hold of even just pictures of your child,
Yeah.
they can use those pictures to create AI generated video of your kid. In certain situations, or just photos or whatever, so that they can use that in their narrative to trick you. And a lot of times it's just, they're trying to trick you to get some money out of you. That's kind of the whole reason of the scam. But
yeah,
you just have to be aware. There's so much, I feel like there's so much more that I have to worry about than my parents had to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it doesn't really feel like there's been much change with as far as like just the internet goes, but there really has been so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So true. So for those that might just be hearing about this for the first time, maybe their kiddos are babies and they haven't even had to go down this road before, can you show some examples about or like what some of these parental controls might look like on different devices?
Sure. Yeah. So if you look here,
I love your workbench, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a picture of my workbench. That's sitting right next to me here. This one right here is Google's Family Link.
Which I love.
It has, this was by far my favorite. I wish I could use this to control all parental controls everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It has such great capabilities of controlling what apps they can view, what you can restrict, screen time, what have they been looking at, their history. If their tablet becomes, or their phone, and you can use this to control multiple devices. That's the other great thing.
That's cool.
You can control tablets. You could, for this one, since it's Google, you can control Chromecast accounts. Everything is all linked up. I highly recommend you create an email address for your child, regardless of their age, and use that email address to create their kid accounts for them, because as they grow, they're going to be familiarized with that email address and their login. They're going to be able to use that email address when they become older. So you can actually make them something. And obviously, kids now, back in our day, it was, we made all sorts of weird,
Yeah.
weird email addresses with regret.
Silly ones like chewing gum, 1997.
Right. But make them account, make them email addresses, and get them use those to sign up for the different parental controls, because that is going to help you manage and kind of keep everything in one spot. Because a lot of times, for you to have an account for the child, they have to have some sort of email address,
right,
in some form or another. Nintendo is the same way. Amazon's a little different. This is Amazon's dashboard here. They've got some basic controls and stuff. Nothing too fancy, but it'll get you by with managing your kid. Nintendo has great controls as well, where you can set time limits to things. This one also, some of them have the option where you don't have to use an email address, but you can use an email address. But when you do that, at least if you have to recover something, then you can use their email address, that you're not using yours. A lot of times you can't use your email address because it's associated to an adult's account,
right.
to do things. So, and so we were talking about VR, for the MetaQuest devices. You can see there's basic controls as well that you can use. All of them have great functionality. Some are lacking. Microsoft has one for Windows. That one it's usable, but I consider it lacking, especially in comparison with Google's Family Link.
Yeah.
Its Family Link is decades ahead of Microsoft's parental controls, that's for sure. But it's still functional. You can still use them. I use them to restrict my kids from using the computer for too long, or playing games on the computer, certain apps. I can restrict them from using the web browser itself, or only define certain websites that they can use in the web browser. So, like I said, there's so many controls. Like, there would be no way for us to go through and go over all of them.
For sure. But I appreciate that you shared a couple of tips for those that might just be setting up for the first time, like using the child's email address. I love that you shared the tip about checking out anything that they're going to be using, researching that, especially games and that sort of thing. I think that's super important. Are there any features or tools that you think are particularly helpful, maybe underrated, or that you really, really like that not a lot of people know about?
With Google, and I know you're familiar with Google as well. I do like the ability to manage multiple devices.
Yeah.
You can see here, there's 2 devices attached to this one. And the ability to access a device that has its Wi-Fi turned off when it's locked.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's a nugget.
So with Family Link, there's a parent access code, which works on all the devices, all the kids' devices. And it's just one code. It does rotate and change. And you can see it expires in, I think every hour it rotates. And you can use that basically to log into the tablet. If, let's say, Wi-Fi is off and you can't control the device with the parental controls, then you can use that code to log in to, do whatever. Give them more time, give yourself access to the device. Obviously, there's a quicker way if it's connected to the internet. You can just lock and unlock it. These settings are great. Setting time limits, setting schedules is very important, especially with school time coming up. One of the Google features also has a school setting, which so you can turn on school time here.
That's awesome.
And that basically, you can say, okay, my kid's going to be in school this time. Here's the schedule. That way, if they have their phones in school, it will lock them down. I'm not 100% sure just because none of my kids have cell phones yet, but I'm not sure exactly what it locks down, but I'm sure it locks down the important stuff that needs to be locked down.
Right, so that it doesn't go off in the middle of class and get them in trouble, or
Yep.
it's not something that is enticing them to play with it when they should be
They're
studying and
watching
not
YouTube
playing.
in class and
Yeah,
uh,
exactly. I wouldn't put it past my kid, Casey.
oh no, no. Oh, they do it. They do it all the time. All the time.
For sure, for
Uh,
sure. Is there anything else that you can think of that is real special to show before I pull your desktop off here?
I don't think so.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you going through that and showing us what you do with your kiddos on it. And again, keep in mind, guys, that there are a ton of these things out there. There are a ton of different devices, some that we didn't talk about, probably many that we didn't talk about. So please make sure, like Casey said, you guys are doing your due diligence. You're researching these products. You know, if little Joey gets a new something technology for Christmas from grandpa and you're unfamiliar with it, make sure that you get familiar with it before Joey starts to play with it, because it is a dangerous world out there. And, you know, we don't want to scare everybody to death, but it's definitely, you know, there's risk, and it's definitely important to keep an eye on it.
And if you don't do your due diligence, and if you're not a part, an active participant in your kids' devices and actually looking at what they're using, then you're going to have things slip through your fingers. Even even as active as I am on the devices, I still have things that slip through my fingers. You know, my oldest Freddie, he's got his own VR headset, and when parental controls were added to that Gorilla Tag game, he decided to just say, "I'm an adult," and he pushed the "I'm an adult" button, and he clicked on a couple check boxes and scrolled through and hit a couple "yeah, I agrees," and he was in. And so now there's no parental controls in there. So now I have to go through the process of actually contacting their support with his ID from the game and having them reset that so that I can set it up properly. And so, yeah, so like, and kids can be very sneaky about that. You know, giving your kids access to install whatever they want is usually not a good idea. The kids all usually have an approval process. Most of the parental controls have an approval process you can set up. And it's just basically, yeah, if you want to install this, you got to ask a parent. You can ask them in person and they can type in their password and add it right there, or you can send them a request and it sends it to my phone, you know, and I can just look at it and allows me to review it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I love that feature because my kid is just like a download king. He's just like, I want this and I want this and I want this and I want this. He doesn't even know what he's downloading half the time.
Yeah. A lot of times it's like, oh, this game has ads. So every 5 minutes, oh, can I get this game? Oh, can I get this game? Oh,
Right.
can I get this one? And it's like, yeah, we'll just send a request and I'll look at them.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to get it right now, but it may appear on your tablet in a day. Sometimes like the Google one has a 24-hour time limit. So if they send a request and you don't look at it for 24 hours, it just disappears.
Oh, I like that. That works for me.
Yeah, it gives you as a parent the excuse of, so, oh dang, I didn't see it on time. Oh,
Whoops,
what was that game?
And they'll never remember because that's what they saw on an ad like 20 games ago.
Right.
Too funny. Well, thank you again, Casey. This really was super eye-opening and very, very helpful. I know to those out there that, you know, maybe are just kind of getting into this with their kiddo. Again, you know, maybe their kiddo's just starting to get to that age where they're starting to pick up the tablet or the remote control or the VR set or what have you. So thank you again for being here. Do we want to talk about your YouTube channel?
We can for a little bit. I'm starting a YouTube channel coming soon. I don't have any videos up yet. I'm still working on those. Called The Random Workbench. And it is focused around the chaos around just what I do on my workbench, because I've got ADHD and I hyperfocus randomly. I like to fix things. I'll fix kids' toys. I will tinker with electronics. I'll take stuff apart just to see if I can fix it, or just to see how it works. I will also do some gunsmithing and gun cleaning, things like that. I'll even do, at least I'm planning on doing some programming and
Nice.
kind of a mix of programming and Arduino, electronics stuff. And yeah, so it's just called the Random Workbench. It'll be on YouTube, and I'm hoping to get it starting to go in the next couple weeks.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you definitely have a fan over here, and Jackson too, my son, will be a fan, because that is totally his gig. Is he loves to take things apart and see if he could put them back together or build something cool out of something else. This kid is the one that will take regular toys. He still does this, and he's 11. He'll take regular toys, take them all apart, make a new toy out of it. So
hey, that's awesome. And and that's kind of my goal for it. It's not necessarily to educate the right or the wrong way to do something. It's more of this is an interactive experience of, I may not know how to fix this thing. I may have never taken it apart. It's not intended to be solely educational of this is how you do this exact thing. It's more of an experiment to just show you it's okay to fail. It's okay to take this thing apart and not be able to fix it, and actually throw it away, when you're done. I have my workbench is way messier than normally is, but I have all sorts of projects. I mean, I have an egg beater that died on us in the kitchen, and my wife's like, let's just throw it away and let's get a new one. And I'm like, well, I can, sure, let's get a new one, but I'm going to take it apart and figure out why it died.
Yeah.
Because like, people want to know that. Like, I'm tired. I think one of the big things I'm tired of having to throw things away and buy new stuff.
Same.
People don't repair things as much as they used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to change that. It's not really in society's mindset to change that anymore, but still, I would love to change that and repurpose things. Just take things apart and salvage parts off of them and throw the rest away. That's recycling is a great thing to get into, especially if you want to save some money.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I love that. I'm the same way. I love to repurpose, recycle, reuse, and it drives my husband absolutely crazy. So thank you for being like me, Casey. And everybody, check out Casey, the Random Workbench, on YouTube. He's going to be up and running in a couple of weeks. You heard it here. If you want to check out any of our past Live and Learn episodes, hop on over to our YouTube channel. It is at MOMnation USA. That's our handle. Scroll down just a little ways. You will see the bright red playlist called Live and Learn. Check it out. And it is like, you can binge, guys, for days on just that playlist. I promise.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot.
I was looking through that. It was a lot.
Yeah. We've been at this for a couple of years now. If you want to catch us on your favorite podcast platform, go ahead over there and do a quick search for MOMnation Talk Radio. There you will find us. Like, download, subscribe, all the things. You will never miss a beat. We will see you later, Casey. Thank you again so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you facing a divorce? Struggling with custody? Is that about child support? Unsure how to protect your rights? Or maybe your family's future? At Cox Sandoval Law, we understand family challenges because we've been there. Attorney Annette Cox-Sandoval has over 20 years of experience. Her dedication has earned her recognition as one of Arizona's top 50 pro bono attorneys and one of Chandler's top family law firms. Your family's future deserves the best. Contact Cox-Sandoval Law now.